The work ethic of Filipinos, I'd say, is very natural for us to really work hard. And knowing that,
Agreed.
that's the thank you. And that's when my eyes were open that, hey, why not start this business? I know how to contact the clients. And the thing is, I have a lot of colleagues that doesn't know this opportunity yet. So it's just like, okay, I just woke up one day and then I'm going to start this. But it's really, really, I mean, I don't know any business at all. It's just really basic, I would say. That's why I can say that we're still startup. That's why I'm learning a lot from you today, Yoni.
It's all a journey. I think it's a good way to treat it. Is every day, as they say in Amazon, every day is day one.
Welcome to Delegation Dialogues, the podcast where we dive into the world of business operations and explore the strategies that help companies thrive. Join your host, Regine as she interviews business owners and professionals who share their insights on effective delegation, leadership, and growth. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Delegation Dialogues, the podcast where we explore how business leaders and entrepreneurs can unlock growth through effective delegation and virtual staffing. I'm your host, Regine, and today we have a very special guest with us, Yoni Kozminski. Yoni is the co-founder and CEO of Multiply Me, a leading staffing company focused on e-commerce and Amazon businesses. He is also the founder of Scala Consulting, where he has helped SMEs transform through process improvement and digital strategies. With a background in scaling Amazon brands, founding multiple companies, and mentoring startups, Yoni brings a wealth of knowledge on how to grow and scale businesses efficiently. I'm excited to dive into Yoni's journey and learn more about how staffing and process optimization have been key to his success. Yoni, I'm hoping that I'm saying your name right. But welcome to the show. How are you today?
Regine, you did great. You got my name right, and it's an honor to be here.
Awesome. I'm actually excited for today's podcast session. And yeah, I do have quite a few questions for you today. So I'm just going to continue with that. Yoni, what are some of the biggest challenges or pain points that the businesses you work with face, especially in the e-commerce and Amazon spaces? And how does Multiply Me help them address these issues?
So I would say that the biggest challenges, particularly in today's climate and environment, is all about not just scalability, but building profitable scale into the business. So, when you talk about e-commerce businesses, they are very heavy on, as you grow, so too does the demand for your inventory. There's a long lead time and your cash conversion cycles, therefore impacted. You need to spend more on media. So being able to build a business that actually scales profitably is, I would say, probably the largest challenge today, particularly when you look at some of the platform-focused, Amazon businesses and Walmart and Etsy and so on. So I would say that's definitely one of the bigger challenges people are dealing with. In terms of how we support those businesses, so you called out, we've got sort of two arms, if you will, to how we support businesses. We have a process improvement consultancy, which is just jargon to say that we come into businesses and understand what their operation looks like, document those processes, and help build a pathway that enables it to grow and bring on the right head count and do these processes more efficiently. And on the other side, we work very closely in finding, I would say, the very best talent that the Philippines has to offer through our Multiply Me recruitment arm. And I would say that it is through that combination of both understanding where you can plug in high value talent that are not focused on delivering tasks, but are actually taking on real accountabilities and taking meaningful work on is where we support.
Awesome. Well, I can totally relate. As an owner, the president and CEO of a staffing agency as well, we're a startup. That's one thing that I can tell you. That's why I'm actually excited to talk to you today. I've seen a little videos from you on YouTube, and I already learned a lot. So that's why I'm actually looking forward to this episode today. And thank you so much for sharing that, Yoni. Another question is, when businesses don't deal with these challenges that you've just mentioned, whether it's a staffing inefficiency or process bottlenecks, what are the long-term impacts on their growth and success?
Well, it breaks down, Regine, into a few different ways that it can position itself. I would say the first is where a founder or early stage startup business thinks that they can take on every single task that needs to happen, and pretty quickly they realize either there's not enough hours in the day and they burn out and physically can't get into work, or I would say are trying to grow in so many different directions without creating that meaningful focus and understanding what sort of the next most important thing is that they need to tackle in order to create sort of that step-by-step growth. And I say that as someone who, as when we were growing Multiply Me to start with, we went from 0 to about 120 full-time team members in the space of about 18 months. And we actually went the other way. We just hired people thinking that we could throw people at a problem. But what we really quickly found out is we weren't building a profitable business. We were growing our revenue, but we were not building a profitable business. So, I think that's two extremes. You either burn out and try and take too much on, or you delegate too much away without having clarity on what the true vision and direction of the business is, and you start to bleed all the money that you've worked so hard to generate.
Wow, that's a great thing. It's going to be the same issue. Either you don't delegate or you delegate, but you don't know how. It's one thing that I'm hearing from what you've said. I know it's just the latter part of what you mentioned, but that's really important because as a business owner myself, that's also one thing that I'm learning, and I have a long way to go. Though one good thing about us, or SAS as a whole, our business, or to be more specific, Strategic Assistant Staffing is our name. One good thing about us, and I think one of our leverage, just like you, the Multiply Me, is that there is a client like you, and you know how to use, the outsourcing or this industry, the Filipino talent, to be more specific. Because we do have American. We do have an American partner as well, which is Ryan Agot. So that's one thing, a big difference, I would say. And I'm learning a lot, Yoni. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm excited for this third question because it's always like hearing stories. It's always, hearing those good things. How did you figure out like the best way to help businesses with these problems? Like what led you to develop the strategies you use today, and what inspired you to start Multiply Me and Scala Consulting?
I got to say, part of me, Regine, wants to like flip it and me start interviewing you because I'm so interested in hearing about your journey as well. And so I'm going to jump into that in a second, but I'll be polite and answer your question first. And so, like, my personal journey was that I'd spent about a decade in creative advertising and digital marketing strategy in Australia, and then in Los Angeles working with the likes of Sony, MasterCard, Mercedes-Benz, Medtronic, always large companies, but from the lens of smaller agencies. I was the 10th employee in Australia. We grew to about 30 in America. I was the 15th. We grew to about 45. And so I always sort of saw what big business was doing from the lens of small business and working on some pretty meaningful, like everything from web development, design to content production and media buying and SEO and sort of the whole spectrum, even TV commercials and live activations when I was in Los Angeles. And when probably close to 10 years ago now, I was dabbling with a whole lot of, I would say, emerging world talent. So India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, the Philippines, to name a few. I just happened upon a woman, her name's Joan, and she'd been working at a big media company called Cognizant. So I met this woman, Joan, about 10 years ago, as I was saying, and it was like a paradigm shift for me. What I had originally thought, and it was actually made quite famous in the book, The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, where he talked a lot about VAs, virtual assistants, and sort of, handing off these baseline tasks. What I found was someone who could actually build meaningful process, handle projects end to end, build, to quite a strategic level, these outputs and run with it. And so it really changed my framing of realizing what was possible. Sort of the next step in my journey was that I ended up joining a company and building an agency effectively of purely Filipino talent that I would say rivaled a lot of, the businesses that I'd worked for in the US and Australia. And as a result, that company grew from 2 to 5 million in 12 months and was acquired. And so that was my journey in just understanding that there is such a dense talent pool in the Philippines that it's not, pay someone $2 an hour and get some tasks done, but, pay meaningful money that is, life changing, and I'm not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here. I'm talking about, 10, 15, $20 an hour, US. And this is meaningful salaries for people that are not just capable of delivering the work, but are much hungrier, I would say, than a lot of their US and Australian and British and European counterparts. So I would say that was my journey into, I would say Filipino talent. But then I would say now I've, fallen in love with the culture. It's a pretty amazing place to get to be able to fly to, a couple times a year. And I'm just, that's definitely been my journey. And that's sort of started my love for the country and the people.
Awesome. What a great story, I would say. It's like one thing that also led me to really start the business that we have right now, the staffing, business, is because I know there's still a lot of Filipino talent that's actually better than me. I was like, hey, these are just the things that I know. These are my, specialty. I can do this, I can do that. But I know that there's a lot of Filipino talents out there that can actually do better than me. It's just that they do not yet have access to this kind of opportunity, like the virtual industry, that they can they can work with clients abroad and still be able to enjoy work-life balance. And as a mother of two, I have 3-year-old and 7-year-old. I love really working for clients in the US. It's one thing about the time difference, but other thing is really about your culture, to be specific, Yoni. Like you're appreciative. You're very generous, and it's like you're easy to work with, and that's one thing that I love. So it's a whole different thing about my journey. It's a whole different.
Well,
thing
I want to hear more.
Story.
I want to hear more about your journey. Like, how did it get started? Like, what was the first decision point in saying, I'm going to start this business, and off we go?
Oh. Well, it really started like in this industry, the outsourcing industry. I was a call center agent like for 5 years. I handled account like AT&T, and I've been doing that for 5 years. And pandemic came, and I was like, hey, I'm pregnant. And it's like first day of pandemic, I learned that I'm actually pregnant with my second baby. So I was like, what am I going to do now? How can I go to work and still be able to really provide for my family? It's really is, I would say, that's how the story started. And because of that, that's the time that I actually search. And I learned that there's this, online opportunity that I didn't even know that it's a possibility, like for a Filipino like me, that I can actually earn more than what's being paid in the corporate world. Well, that's a fact, I would say. And I was like,
and from home as well.
From home. And I think you already know the Filipino talent, since you said that you know the culture. Like, if we're gonna work in the corporate, like, how long is the commute? It would take us like 4 to 6 hours back and forth, and it's not really a good
Where are you
thing
based?
for us. Yes. And I was like,
where are you based? Where in the Philippines?
Oh, sorry. I'm in Pampanga, so only 2 hours away from Manila. Yeah. You've been here?
I haven't been to Pampanga, but I was in Manila, Cebu, Davao, Boracay. I'm going to be in Tagaytay in December. So yeah, I mean, I've seen a bit of the country, but it's massive. What is it? What's the stat? It's like 7,001 islands. I can't remember the exact number.
I only know 7,000 plus. I am a Filipino, but that's all I know. I'm really bad with, that kind of subject in the school. All right, awesome. So that's just really how I started. Like, it's my own personal experience. And then during pandemic, I became a virtual assistant myself. The first I would say role that I actually handled is business development representative. So as you know, lead generation and all, that's when I've learned how to generate leads, how to contact clients, and so on and so forth. That's why when I saw that there's an opportunity like you guys, like in the US, UK, Australia, Canada, I saw like there's a big opportunity. You guys are looking for talents, not just a specific talent, but something that's, I would say, hard workers. The work ethic of Filipinos, I'd say, is very natural for us to really work hard. And knowing that,
Agreed.
that's the Thank you. And that's when my eyes were open that, hey, why not start this business? I know how to contact the clients. And the thing is, I have a lot of colleagues that doesn't know this opportunity yet. So it's just like, okay, I just woke up one day and then I'm going to start this. But it's really, really, I mean, I don't know any business at all. It's just really basic, I would say. That's why I can say that we're still startup. That's why I'm learning a lot from you today, Yoni.
It's all a journey. I think it's a good way to treat it. Is every day, as they say in Amazon, every day is day one.
Yeah, yeah, I can totally agree. And since we're talking about stories, I'd like to hear more. Like, can you share a success story of someone you've worked with and how you help them overcome their challenges and the results they achieve? For sure, you have a lot of like favorite stories coming from your clients.
Whew, it's a tough one. It's like you tell me which of your two children is your favorite, right? You can't.
For sure.
but look, I would say like at a macro level, if I look at each of the businesses and sort of their connection, Multiply Me's worked with I think over 250 clients to date, and a Scala about 150, and on the consulting practice side, it's always really cool. Like I'm still connected to that sales process, and I intentionally am because I really enjoy the journey of getting on a call and interviewing people around, all of their operational challenges in the business, understanding the story of their business, the vision, how they're operating in it. And so, now for over 150 businesses, I can say that we've made them more efficient. In many cases, we've been able to remove founders from effectively getting out of their own way by building systems and processes that are reliant on delegating those accountabilities to other high value team members. And then on the Multiply Me side, I really enjoy the ability, one of the things that I'm obviously passionate about in my background is marketing. And often what I love to do is share with people, if anyone looks at any of our websites or any of our content or email marketing or anything that you're looking at, internally I have, two incredible graphic designers and a video production specialist. I have a full-time Webflow developer, SEO specialist, content writers. I've got a project manager. I've got such an incredible team, and it's such a nice thing in knowing that while I am able to create this experience for myself, and anyone can look at our website and see the caliber of what is possible, being able to then sort of give that gift to other people and show them, what is possible and how they can both increase their output and reduce their operating costs. And, for us, we're a bootstrap business. We didn't invest millions of dollars or raise millions of dollars to get it going. And it's only by virtue of how we've been able to operate and find incredible talent that we've been able to achieve that. So, I've sort of danced around your question a little bit without being able to pick a favorite client, but I would say as a general rule, like that's really what brings me a lot of joy, is knowing that, these are having meaningful impact for the clients that we're working with on sort of a broad spectrum playing field.
Awesome. Well, that's I would say that's a safe answer. And that's awesome because it's us really working for the clients and the talents that we have. Like, we're in between. How can we ensure that, we're helping the clients based on what we have told them? And how can we ensure that, the talents that we're getting are the right fit for them? And at the same time, on the talent side, I always have a heart for that, because what I really want to make sure is that the virtual, we call them virtual staff, the talents that are working with us, is to ensure that they're enjoying what they're doing. Because based on my experience, like, I was a call center agent for 5 years, and I've been taking in calls for like 50 calls a day and so on. The only thing that I don't really like about it is, the irate callers. But aside from that, everything has been a success. But that's one thing that I want to make sure that our talents, the company that we're working with, are enjoying what they're doing. At the same thing, they're getting the best benefit that we can actually provide for them, because we are like in the middle. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Yoni. And finally, for businesses actually that are listening in who are dealing with similar challenges, how can they start working with you and your team at Multiply Me or Scala Consulting?
Yeah, so the best way if you were to come and work with us, and I'm sure SAS, right? That's the acronym you go by.
Yes.
So whether it's Multiply Me or SAS, we'll each have our different sort of skill sets and roles that we specialize in. But for us, it's just checking out our website, jumping on a call. One of our team will gladly help you understand the landscape, help you understand the salaries that exist in the Philippines and the kinds of roles, help build the job description and effectively take you on this journey all the way through to building an onboarding plan, submitting candidates, and showing you sort of what is possible. And on the Escala side, again, have a look at our website, weareescala.com. You in that case, if you do book in a call, you got a 50-50 chance of chatting with me, and we would go on a journey helping you understand sort of what is in the realm of possibility to get you out of your business.
Awesome. Sounds great. So there you go. You do have a lot of options that you can actually contact Multiply Me or the consulting business side. And yeah, I'm really excited. And thank you so much, Yoni. You were able to answer all of the questions that we have for today. So you've got that covered. Now it's time for some rapid fire questions. It's just 5 questions. Are you ready for the challenge?
Let's go.
Awesome. First question is, what's the one tool or app that you can't live without, like running your businesses?
ChatGPT today.
Oh, that's a good one. Awesome. And if you could delegate one task in your life forever, what would it be?
Just literal life admin in general. I'm allergic to it.
For sure. I think I already know your answer. Awesome. And what's your go-to productivity hack when you're feeling overwhelmed?
Meditating and then blocking out my calendar, closing out my emails, and just staying very focused on the task at hand.
Perfect. Awesome. What's the most unexpected place or situation where you've had a great business idea?
Well, I would say the shower is expected, right? They're called shower thoughts. But I don't know, maybe the beach.
Oh, that's great. For me, it's always the bedroom. Like after waking up, I was like thinking a lot of things and I think we need to do that. It's always the bedroom, I'd say. Awesome. And we're down to the last question for today. The question is, if you could mentor any entrepreneur, past or present, who would it be and why?
As in me mentor them or them mentor me?
Yeah, you mentoring them.
Me mentoring them. I'd love to give maybe one of the current presidential nominees some mentoring.
I hope we're not really going there, but I'm interested why.
They might be able to do a little bit better job, so I'd love to give them a few tips.
I would say they need to contact Escala for that. Awesome. Thank you so much for today, Yoni. I really do appreciate your time and for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. One thing that I can tell you, hearing about your journey and the amazing work you're doing with Multiply Me and Scala Consulting. I'm sure our listeners have gained a lot of valuable takeaways, just like what I did. And to everyone tuning in, thank you for joining us on an episode of Delegation Dialogues. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. Until next time, keep delegating and thriving.
Thanks for tuning in to Delegation Dialogues. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights into optimizing your business operations. If you are looking for expert virtual staffing solutions to support your business, visit Strategic Assistant Staffing at strategic-assistant.com. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. See you next time.